Elite Facts presents
8 fascinating abandoned places from around the world.
8.
Sanxia Taiwan. More of a modern choice this time is the abandoned city in the north of Taiwan. In the area of Sanxia, this futuristic pod village was initially built as a luxury vacation retreat for the rich. However, after numerous fatal accidents during construction, production was halted. A combination of lack of money and lack of willingness meant that work was stopped permanently, and the alien-like structures remain as if in remembrance of those lost. Indeed, rumors in the surrounding area suggest that the city is now haunted by the ghosts of those who died. After this, the whole thing received the cover-up treatment, and the government who commissioned the site in the first place was keen to distance itself from the bizarre happenings. Thanks to this, there are no named architects. The project may never be restarted due to the growing legend, and there would be no value in redeveloping the area for other purposes. Maybe simply because destroying homes of lonely spirits is a bad thing to do.
7.
Bodhi, California. Founded in 1876, Bodhi is the authentic American ghost town. It started life as a small mining settlement, though it found even more fortune from nearby mines that attracted thousands. By 1880, Bodhi boasted a population of almost 10,000 people. Such was the boom. At its peak, 65 saloons lined the town's main street, and there was even a Chinatown with several hundred Chinese residents. Dwindling resources proved fatal, however, and although greatly reduced in prominence, Bodhi held a permanent residency through most of the 20th century, even after a fire ravaged much of the downtown business district in 1932. Bodhi is now unpopulated. The town was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1961, and in 1962 it became Bodhi State Historic Park, as the few residents left moved on. Today, Bodhi is preserved in a state of arrested decay. Only a small part of the town survives. Visitors can walk the deserted streets of a town where interiors remain as they were left and stocked with goods. Bodhi is open all year, but the long road that leads to it is usually closed in the winter due to heavy snowfall, so the most comfortable time to visit is during the summer months.
6.
Gunkajima, Japan. Hashima Island is one among 505 uninhabited islands in the Nagasaki Prefecture of Japan, about 15 kilometers from Nagasaki itself. It's also known as Gunkajima, or Battleship Island, thanks to its high sea walls. It began in 1890 when a company called Mitsubishi bought the island and began a project to retrieve coal from the bottom of the sea. This attracted much attention, and in 1916 they were forced to build Japan's first large concrete building on the island, a block of apartments that would both accommodate the seas of workers and protect them from hurricanes. In 1959, population had swelled and boasted a density of 835 people per hectare for the whole island, 1,391 per hectare for the residential district, one of the highest population densities ever recorded worldwide. As petroleum replaced coal in Japan in the 1960s, coal mines began shutting down all over the country, and Hashirima's mines were no exception. In 1974, Mitsubishi officially announced the closing of the mine, and today it is empty and bare, with travel currently prohibited. Fun fact, this island was the location of the 2003 film Battle Royale 2, and actually inspired the final level of the popular Asian video game Killer 7. You people watching probably don't even know about Killer 7, or even that there was a sequel to Battle Royale.
5.
Katoli World, Taiwan. We thought we would break out of the abandoned residential mold and look at something inspired by Miyazaki's Oscar-winning Spirited Away. Those who have seen it will know that the family stumbles across an old theme park at the start of the movie, one that was built in the 80s but has since lost popularity and been abandoned. Well, this is a usual occurrence in Asia. One can find many amusement parks that have been left to rust. Here's just one of them, though one that was forced to close for something other than financial loss. Katoli World is situated in the Dakeng Scenic Area just outside of Taichung, Taiwan. Opened in the mid-1980s, it enjoyed moderate success as one of the few theme parks on the island of Taiwan to host a roller coaster. Actually, it had 2. The park was closed after a massive earthquake on September 21, 1999. Thousands of people were killed during the quake, but nobody inside the park, as it struck after the park had closed for the day. But large areas of the park were destroyed, and it was forced to close for good. place once vivid with young laughter is now slowly turning to rust.
4,
Centralia, Pennsylvania. Jonathan Faust opened Bull's Head Tavern in Centralia in 1841, and Centralia was incorporated as a borough in 1886. The anthracite coal industry was the principal employer in the community till the 1960s, when most of the companies went out of business. An exposed vein of the coal ignited in 1962 thanks to weekly garbage burning, and as a result, a huge underground coal fire commenced. Attempts to extinguish the fire were unsuccessful, and it continued to burn throughout the 1960s and 70s. Adverse health effects were reported by several people due to the carbon monoxide produced. In 1979, locals became aware of the scale of the problem when a gas station reported a fuel temperature of 172 degrees Fahrenheit, or 77.8 degrees Celsius. This provoked widespread attention, boosted in 1981 when a 12-year-old almost plunged to his death as a 4-foot wide, 150-foot deep sinkhole suddenly opened beneath his feet. In 1984, $42 million was spent on relocation, with most residents moving to the nearby Mount Carmel and Ashland. In 1992, Pennsylvania condemned all houses within the borough, meaning that of the 1,000-plus residents in 1981, only a handful now remain, mainly priests. The fire still rages on, and according to experts, it could do so for another 250 years. This place has been widely compared to the hit game franchise Silent Hill due to the fact that both are creepy, abandoned towns that are engulfed in thick fog. Not exactly a vacation we'll be taking anytime soon.
3,
Varosha Cyprus. Varosha is in the Turkish-occupied city of Famagusta in Cyprus. It was previously a modern tourist area and flowered into one of the most luxurious holiday destinations. In the year of 1974, however, the Turks invaded Cyprus and tore up the island. Citizens fled, expecting to be able to return to their homes within days, but the Turkish military wrapped it in barbed wire and now controls it completely, allowing nobody to enter to this day, aside from themselves and UN personnel. The buildings are slowly falling apart, though on the positive side, rare sea turtles have begun nesting on the deserted beaches. The Annan Plan had provided for the return of Varosha to Greek Cypriot control, but after the rejection of the proposal by Greek Cypriot voters, this handover to Greek Cypriots has not materialized. This is not the end of the story, though, as the governments are working together to plan a complete revival of Varosha to its former beauty. Currently, 3 concept hotel complexes have been designed by Laxia Incorporated, and by 2010, the de facto Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus will apparently open Varosha to tourism once again. We could definitely see this working as a Halloween attraction.
2,
Pripyat, Ukraine. Pripyat is an abandoned city in the zone of alienation in northern Ukraine, Kiev Oblast, near the border with Belarus. The city population had been around 50,000 and had been home to most of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant workers. Then the Chernobyl disaster struck in 1986, and the place was abandoned due to threat of radiation. Afterwards, Pripyat acted like a museum for a long time, perfectly showing a slice of Soviet life. However, at some time in the beginning of the 21st century, the place was looted heavily, and nothing was left behind. Even toilet seats were stolen. The city will not be safe for human habitation for several years to come, and even then it will be a long time before people consider it healthy to develop once again. Before the power plant was built, concerns were voiced at its planned closeness to the city of Kiev. They had planned to build it only 25 kilometers away, placing the capital at risk from pollution, among other things. However, after a long debate, they decided to build Chernobyl, along with Pripyat, 100 kilometers away from Kiev, a choice that would in the end prove to be a wise one.
1,
Craco, Italy. Craco is located in the region of Basilicata and the province of Matera, about 25 miles inland from the Gulf of Taranto at the instep of the boot of Italy. This medieval town is typical of those in the area, built up with long undulating hills all around that allow for the farming of wheat and other crops. Craco can be dated back to 1060, when the land was in the ownership of Archbishop Arnaldo, Bishop of Tricarico. This long-standing relationship with the church had much influence over the inhabitants throughout the ages. In 1891, the population of Craco stood at well over 2,000 people, even though there had been many problems, with poor agricultural conditions creating desperate times. Between 1892 and 1922, over 1,300 people moved from the town to North America. In addition to the poor farming, there were also earthquakes, landslides, and war, all of which contributed to this mass migration. Between 1959 and 1972, Craco was plagued by these landslides and quakes. In 1963, the remaining 1,800 inhabitants were transferred to a nearby valley called Craco Pashira, and the original Craco remains in a state of crumbling decay to this day.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.